Welcome. Excited to get the 2020 spring football practice season rolling. Take the field tomorrow morning, and really excited about getting back on the field and coaching our guys. And, it's been a few weeks since more than a few weeks, but I'm glad to be back with you guys and get the chance to see our team get back and play some football. So, got three. I always have goals, and this year I'm going to say more areas of focus for spring. We have a much more mature team than we've had the last couple of years, and a lot of guys returning, and so to me, it's as I share with our staff, just the focus on effort is going to be paramount. You always talk about that; it's always a big deal. But man, I want to be all over that in every phase, every drill, everything we do, just to continue to elevate the ultimate performance eventually. And because of the competition that we have and the depth that we have, that's going to separate guys. So I don't care what drill it is, and the special teams drills, and every single thing we do, somebody looking for that the finish. And we did that even yesterday morning with our team and our team run. It was just so much about doing the little things right and finishing. And so that's number one. Number two is going to be attention to details, and that's obviously technique as always, but just all the little things we've spent this off season talking about. One more. It's been just the focus of after the bowl game and just coming up one short in that game, and just need one more stop, one more first down, one more a lot of things, one more kick, one more point at the end. And so just the attention to details. Once again, you got a veteran group of guys, a lot more of those than we've had, guys that have played, guys that have been here, and just almost an obsession as a coaching staff with the details. And that will be felt by our guys and our leadership guys to be able to embrace that. And then the number three is body language and eye contact. That's something I'm going to really emphasize with our guys. Once again, just trying to get them to a whole nother level. These are all things that you naturally want, but just an extra emphasis on the body language that we have, during the game, how we respond to adversity, just the eye contact with your coaches when they're correcting you. The essence of coaching is the correction of errors, and so how you do that is critical. And I want eye contact from our players with our coaches. Just once again, it's just a heightened sense of the little things to be able to elevate where we are and where we want to be. So those are the three things that stick out to me that we want to focus on, emphasize, and just really excited to see them with all the work in the weight room that they've done the last several weeks, and to be able to get them out there and move around with maybe a little extra muscle mass on them, and how they handle that, and just excited to see them move around. I like the speed of our team and the way they've worked so hard and all the things that we've asked them to do. So those are things you really want to see, from your guys when you get a chance to get out there. Even though we won't have the shoulder pads, I won't have helmets on tomorrow, and get a chance to do that. And then also, just want to officially say just such a huge thank you to Dave Ballou and Dr. Ray for what they did for us, what they brought to us here. Obviously, hate to see them leave, but wish them nothing but great things there at Alabama. Learned a long time ago, you hire great people, and now you aren't going to keep them forever. Love to always keep them a little longer, just like with Kalen DeBoer, same thing. But if you got them for 1 year, they make you better. You got them for 2 years, they make you better. And as I challenged our team when we talked about this after it happened, is hey, I want to thank those guys. They made all of us better, and that's why I just want to just publicly say to them thank you and appreciate all that they did for us. And also just since it was already been out there this morning, just wanted to Samson James will be back with us. Will be back with us in our meetings tomorrow, and they'll be practicing with us. So it's good news for the Hoopers. So sometimes you make mistakes, and he's admitted that, and it's been a few days, but we love Samson. Nothing changes. Peyton Hendershot status has not changed, so no update with that. But as that evolves and continues, I'll let you know.
Zach?
Just kind of the usual first question of spring, but are there going to be guys who maybe are going to have to miss because of some injuries, maybe some older guys that you just don't feel like you need to put as much on because they just don't need the reps as much? Just kind of maybe are there some moving parts that we'll see guys maybe not as involved starting tomorrow?
Well, first of all, we do have a few guys. You know, you always have off-season injuries that you have to deal with. I know that Stevie Scott, just from a wear and tear, running back position, didn't plan to overuse him in the spring. Just wanted to continue to grow and develop and be at a high level. So I don't expect him to be as highly used as he has been in the past, just because I want his body to be fully ready to roll. In the fall, Thomas Allen will be coming back from surgery, so he will be non-contact throughout spring. C.J. Person had surgery, so he will be out for spring and get a chance to get himself rehabbed. And Josh Sanguinetti, coming back from shoulder surgery, will be able to be out there in pads, blue jersey, which means no contact, but kind of like Devon Matthews had a year ago, where he was able to practice but not hit. And so he'll be in that situation. Jeremy Passmore, same thing from his ACL injury he had in the fall. We'll be able to get some drill work in, won't be involved in team things. Dylan Powell coming back from a minor surgery that he'll be limited in some things, but expect him to continue to grow and develop, so he won't be out there full bore for everything. But those are the guys right now at this point going into fall practice. We have some guys that we'd like to move around a little bit positionally. Dave Ellis is going to be able to be a versatile guy for us. Already has been played running back as well as slot receiver, and has the skill set to really play inside or outside receiver, but and will specialize in returning kicks and punts. But he will do some work at running back. And then defensively, Bryant Fitzgerald, Fitzy, will be getting some work at the Husky position. We really want to try and take some of those secondary guys. We're a 5 DB defense, 3 safety defense, and Jamar Johnson will be able to play some free safety. Want to be able to move him around and create his flexibility. He just makes plays every time he's out there. So we're looking forward to that. His ability to be versatile. Just to me, it's about position flexibility. It really helps us become a better football team the more times we have guys like that able to move around. And spring's a great time to really experiment with that and get a lot of quality reps in. And I think that's really going to be helpful. Raheem Lane's going to play some safety, the rover position, which is our safety to the field by alignment. We'll also cross-train back at corner as well, but really feel like that he's gotten bigger and just trying to get our best players, once again, with the ability to play multiple positions. And just really excited about our defense, excited about our offense and our specialists as well. So, but those are some guys. And then we'll be finding a new kicker, and so I know that Charles Campbell is one that would be expected to be in that position. That's what he needs to follow through with and do. But so he'll be replacing Logan Justice, at least initially, and that's what my expectation will be, that he's the guy. So, but this will be his chance to come in that role without somebody technically in front of him. More questions?
Yeah, Weaver.
Coach, obviously, with the strength position, just kind of where you at in the process as far as the replacement, and I guess what kind of feedback have you gotten from people that you've reached out to, or maybe you've reached out to you about it?
It's interesting, and it's been, a heavily amount of interest in that position, as you would expect. I think anytime you have a guy that comes in here and does such a great job like Dave Ballou did, it just increases the opportunities for other people to come in here and do the same. You see where he went, from that position, and I think that it's neat, because I feel like he's taken that position for us and just put it to a whole nother level. And so I'm very excited about the interest for sure, and hope to have it wrapped up in the very near future.
All right, Cohen, then John.
Yes, with so much turnover on the coaching staff this summer, how much, or this winter, how have you adjusted to all the new faces in the building?
Well, you have a new defensive line coach, and man, I tell you what, I'm so excited about Kevin Peoples. I just think that he's as good a technician I've ever been around, and just even in the meetings, and I knew him way before here, and we not worked together, but it just, I just think he's going to make us better. I just do. I think he's such a great technician and teacher, and he's going to build great relations with our guys just already in a short amount of time. So I think you're going to have a chance to see some exciting things there with that group, and and bring Kevin Wright in, a guy that haven't coached with either, but know well, and man, he just brings such an expertise and so professional, so sharp, and has handled so many things, in the different places he's been. And IMG's really, it's like running a college program in so many different ways, even more so than your typical high school, even though it's not really a high school setting, but it's the recruiting piece that they have to go through to go across the country, which is the nature of being there. It's just a very unique preparation for college coaching. So he brings all that with him, and then the ties to Indiana and all the coaches he knows, and his dad's been coaching forever in this state, and such a highly respected family. So those are two really great additions, and then Jason Jones as well, and I know is a phenomenal person, coach, all wrapped up, great recruiter, and knows our system, and so I just think that those are three new faces for sure. But if you come and spend time with our staff, there's a lot of good chemistry, with the guys, and so it's because there's some relationships already established there. But I think when you get guys that fit with you, so that's really the only change we've had from the football side of it. And so you look at our offensive staff, even though Nick's in a new role, you got one new face on that side of the ball, and you got two new faces on defense. So it doesn't really feel, maybe from the outside it kind of appears that way a little bit. I guess there has been change for sure, but I don't feel. I think probably the more recent situation with the strength staff probably makes it a little more of a bigger change, So, but from a football perspective and the players and the coaches that are here in those roles, it feels pretty, doesn't seem quite as much as maybe it might appear. But I'm anxious to see those guys out there, coaching their new positions, and their guys, even Coach Teagarden rolling into a new role. Will be different, but he is going to be involved. He's going to coach those Huskies, which is a safety type position for us, and so that puts him in the mix with the guys. So I really feel like kind of we strengthen ourselves with that. I'm also going to be more involved in special teams than I have been in the past. So I just think that this, in general, it's going to be some changes, but make a lot of positive things for sure.
Jonathan Taylor.
I mean, you talk about all the changes and that success is going to bring this, with the coaches leaving, coming and going. Have you had to have conversations with the players or to kind of reinforce to them that this program's still heading in the same direction?
You do, and I, in this very room, when we're talking to the players, I said, when you have, you do something that hasn't happened in 26 years, people take note, and I just feel like that's the nature of having some success, and we obviously got a long ways to go. It was a great first step to get where we want to be, and those are positive things. But I think with that comes change, and it comes. People want to hire your guys to go and become head coaches, as we saw, or be coordinators like with Coach Inge, and chance to make those moves. And so I think you have to, as I told our team, with situation with our strength staff, I just said, just going to ask you to trust me. A couple years ago, we made a decision to make a change, and I had the room. I said, how many guys knew Dave Ballou before he came here? Like 6 guys raised their hand. And I said, this whole room was pretty much full. And I said, how many guys knew Dr. Ray before he came here? One guy raised his hand, and that was Kevin Wright, who they worked together at IMG. And so I had said, my hand's down too. I didn't even know the guy. So I said, think about that. So 2 years ago, pretty much nobody knew those guys in this room. And so I said, we found them, and we brought them here, and they did a phenomenal job. So I said, I'm just going to ask you to trust me. And we'll make the best decision, the best fit for this program, and bring in a guy that's going to, just like before, take the program where it's at to another level in your area of position. So that's why I challenge every new hire to be that way, and to take their room, their position, their side of the ball, their responsibility, and elevate and build off the success that we're having. So that's been the challenge and the charge to our guys.
Taylor and Matt Woody.
Coach, I guess, how have you seen Mike progress as the offseason's kind of gone on here?
Yeah, I tell you, just with him sitting right over there, getting ready to go up here next, but just really encouraged by his growth and the way he's responded to the challenge I've given him, and Coach Sheridan and others as well. But he's a year older, chance to learn from last year's situations and opportunities that he was given, and to be able to grow and develop both physically in his leadership. I've seen that. I've actually feel like even in the midst of the last few, these last couple weeks, just being able to, as spring ball gets closer, and he's, part of our leadership council, and he and I have met, and others have met, and just to help him grow and develop and just take on that role of being, hey, this is your football team. You're the starting quarterback of the Indiana Hoosiers in the Big Ten, and a great opportunity and responsibility that he has. And so I've been very, very encouraged by the attention to the details. As I mentioned, for an area of focus for our team, that was one of my challenges to him in his preparation. And that's part of it. That's part of growing up. That's part of being a year older and being in this position. And so and that has to continue, and he knows that, and that's taking it into spring football and the leadership in the locker room and being that positive voice and that the guy that has the confidence to confront when things need to be confronted. And that's probably the hardest thing to do as a young person, with your peers. And so I just really have been encouraged because it all starts with the daily disciplines that you have to establish. And then once those are in place, then you have earned the right and also the confidence to expand your leadership out to not only the offense but to the entire team. So really, been very encouraged by that, and I expected it, and but at the end of the day, he's got to do it, and that's what he's done.
Weaver and then Rab Johnson, Broccoli.
Coach, I know Coach Sheridan's been a big voice in the offense since he's been here, but now he's the lead voice with the offense. How have you kind of seen him these last few months kind of grow into that and kind of take charge with that side of the ball?
Yeah, I tell you, been around him a lot, and once again, when we first brought him here, he's one of those coaches that I had not spent time with, didn't know well, but was recommended to pursue him, and just from day one was so impressed with just the way he handles himself. He's really, really sharp, extremely bright, and I tell you what, a year ago, he wanted to be the offensive coordinator a year ago when I hired Kalen DeBoer. And we met, and I just basically felt like he just needed some more time, and some other opportunities came for him, and I said, hey, I'd like to move you to tight ends, and he hadn't done that, hadn't coached that position before, and so I tell you, I really felt like that I learned a lot about him, the way he embraced that role, out of his comfort zone, the chance to grow and learn more, expand his knowledge of the whole entire offense with the run game that the tight end is tight end to, and sometimes people have the tight ends coach the tackles, and so he's linked in with that. So you're linked in with the pass game, the run game, just all those components of it. And the way you coach tight ends is different than the way you coach quarterbacks by demeanor and the way you handle that position. And when you coach tight ends, you're now coaching usually special teams because the quarterbacks coach is with quarterbacks all the time. So when that's going on, special teams work's going on. If you're coaching quarterbacks, you usually don't coach special teams. So he was now involved in coaching special teams for the first time. So it's a whole different level of expanding things that he was doing. And so my philosophy is if you're a good coach, you're a good coach. I think I've coached every position on both sides of the ball except wide receivers at one time in my career. And I've called both sides of the football and special teams. And so I just think that, and I'm from the mindset, my dad was from the era where, you would have coaches that would coach on one side of the ball, maybe for several years in a row, and then you would flip. And you coach different positions, maybe even flip sides of the ball. And so I just believe if you're a really good football coach, you can coach about any position. And so we get rigid where we think a guy, he's an O-line guy, or he's a D-line guy, or he's a this guy or that guy. I just don't believe that. And so, and I saw that from Nick, and I thought that I felt like he grew in this last year, And so all it did was just confirm to me the way he responded to that, and bringing somebody else in, and you want that job. And the way he handled that, and then the way he learned from Kalen. So to me, it was just a very, very natural, obvious thing for him to be, another year seasoned, another year ready to roll, and I'm excited. So, and the way he commands the room, got great demeanor in front of everybody. He's a coach that we use on recruiting visits to address all the parents, and he just kind of has a great demeanor to him. He got a good sense of humor, kind of witty, and he's sharp, and he handles himself really, really well. So. Always just so impressed. He's the guy I communicate on the headsets about situations on offense and managing the clock and just all those things that go into being able to manage things at a high level. So, very, very confident in Nick, and obviously I know it's a new opportunity for him, but I think he's going to do a great job.
Rab Johnson, Kevin, and Tom.
Coach, what position group do you feel is the strongest heading into the spring? Which position group do you think needs the most work in the spring?
Oh, I would say the most work that sticks out to me is offensive line. Probably most springs that's usually what I would say. But we have more younger guys there that I want to see develop, and it's going to be critical that they develop from both depth and just find out who are going to be the guys. I just think that you think of all the mid-year guys that are here. There's 4 offensive linemen that have a chance to get a whole extra spring in. Matt Bedford's success that he had as a freshman, I'm not sure it was possible had he not been here, the previous spring as a mid-year enrollee. And so I just think that position itself, and I know you got you got 3 starters back to really anchor everything, and McKenzie's played a lot of football for us, and so that's a very positive thing. But just the depth of the whole group, and some guys we've redshirted, and now maybe even now in the redshirt, going to the redshirt sophomore season in the fall, just ready for those guys to step up. Guys are redshirt juniors, guys, it's time to rise up. So that's a group to me has probably the most questions and needs the most growth. Strength-wise, I think about our secondary. I think there's a lot of experienced guys there. I can say that about maybe even the linebacker position. But I think if I just go overall with the corners I love our receiver core too. So there's between those 2 skill sets. I think that we really got an opportunity to really. But the DBs would probably be the most depth. Most guys have played a lot of football and played at a high level. So and a lot of good competition. We've had springs here where we had 3 corners going in, and we knew we had issues with that, and that's not the case anymore. So, but that would stick out to me in those 2 spots.
Kevin, then Tom.
I think you sent out the tweet a couple of days ago saying we don't flinch. I mean, between
Blink.
Peyton's, we don't blink rather. Sorry, between Peyton's situation and obviously some players leaving and the coaching turnover. How have you tried to manage keeping even keeled for all this?
Well, that was sent out on purpose, and where that comes from, when I was given the charge from Dave Womack, Kane's dad, when I worked for him, about we were trying to find qualities of predators to use for our defense, and so they had the land shark had become a big deal at Ole Miss, and that was the part of the defensive culture that they had there, and so it kind of died off before by the time we got there, because it's hard to have something like that when you're not playing good football, and so there's a reason why we got hired, and so that it kind of had lost its luster, and so but we wanted to bring it back, and so that kind of became like, hey, let's embrace this. It's already there, and so the whole shark thing, and so I did the study on the shark, and so there's the reality is sharks don't blink because they don't have eyelids. They can't blink, okay? And so therefore, when we go through and talk about that, so you use that whole concept is no matter what happens, no matter if something happens good, something happens bad, we don't blink. And so we had all these different qualities of a shark that we applied to our defense and how we were going to play and how we were going to perform. And so I've just never lost that thought from my mind, even though we don't talk about that overall here defensively in terms of the land shark concept. That's solely for Ole Miss. But at the same time, that idea that we do not blink no matter what happens. And yeah, we've had some change. We don't blink. We had some guys make some mistakes. You don't blink. You have things that happen you didn't expect. You don't blink. And we talk that way with our guys. And so when I sent that out, they knew exactly what I was talking about. And because we talk about a lot in our program. And I just think it's a great life principle, and because when you start flinching and start worrying about things going on around you, you're not very effective. So this program does not blink.
Tom?
Coach, last year, this time and in the fall when Kalen was here, you talked a lot about spending more time with the offense and doing all that. Have you thought about how you wanted to devote your time to certain areas and such in the spring, obviously, and in the fall as well?
Well, I think that I'm trying to have good balance with that. It's a great question. As you go through now, and Kane's in year 2 running the defense, and so there's a level more of a comfort level with that. To be able to not be in all those meetings. I want to continue. Last year I was with the quarterbacks a lot with Caleb because he was new. I've been with Nick already, but I do want to be that position is such a critical position. You'll find me being in there. I'm going to probably be in the offensive line, you know, just because of all the new faces and the young guys. You know, I want to be around those guys more. You know, I guess I want to have great balance with our team even. You know, I want to be on both sides. I'm not going to just devote as maybe much to one or the other. And even with special teams, you know, just be a presence. And like I said, I'm going to coach even certain phases of it this year more than in the past. So I just think that as I continue to grow and the confidence of the guys around you that you have, and you know, I don't ever want these guys, I'm not looking over their shoulder to make sure. I just always want to make sure we're all on the same page with everything. And I just love watching our guys coach and teach and all those different things. So I plan to be very involved in a lot of different things in regards to visible presence. I'm still going to be in the defensive post-practice meeting room the most. I like watching the film and going through the corrections, and that isn't going to change. Pre-practice, it'll be more offense than defense on that, and then on the field, I want to be probably more involved in special teams than I have been the last couple of years.
Taylor, last one.
Coach, as far as the early enrollees go, at this point, how do you feel about them collectively and individually?
Yeah, I think, you know, those 9 guys have come in here, had them over at our home and spent more time with them here recently, and just continue to be impressed with their focus, their work ethic. I just feel like that they've done a tremendous job. I mean, I could talk about all of them individually. I mean, they have a chance to prove themselves here this spring. You know, it's interesting. You start talking to some of them. Some of them have come from states that have spring football, and some come from states that haven't. So those that haven't, they've never been through spring football before of any type, you know, high school or college. And so, just that whole new concept for them. And but I continue to be impressed with DeMarge Lewis. You know, the guy that I just think is, even through all the team runs and the drills, and you know, I really like the way he moves around. You know, I just think he's got you know, so much upside and talent, and such a great kid. Works so hard. You know, Dylan Powell has really impressed me. You know, already voted to our leadership council, and that's, you know, not normal. You know, the guy's just has a presence about him and a confidence to him, and you know, but he's a college graduate, so he's not like he's a high school kid, but at the same time, just handles himself the right way, and has earned respect of his teammates, and so just he sticks out to me as well. Dexter Williams continues to just you know, do a great job. You know, I'm anxious to see him in spring, you know, because I can't watch him throw prior to practices, so really haven't seen him do that. But as far as the leadership he's distributed or displayed during the workouts, and just the physical traits, and just want to see him get out there and throw around a little bit. So that's a positive thing for one of the new guys. And you know, Caleb Murphy's another one that continues to impress. You know, the work ethic, they just go so hard all the time. And big old guy, you know, he's gaining good weight all the time, and you know, just really think he's going to be just one of those. You know, I think he's going to be exactly what I thought he was going to be, a guy that it meant the world to him to get this offer to come to play in Indiana. It's his lifetime dream to be a Hoosier, and he's a big guy that can do a lot of things, you know, and gives you special teams value, and we already talked about him in special teams meetings, you know, and being able to do different things, you know, when you're 6'3", 6'4", and 260 pounds, you know, that's a good way to start, you know. So those guys kind of stick out to me, and other guys are all working their tails off and excited to see what they can do.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Awesome. Have a great day. Elio.
Thanks, Coach.